It's training camp season, and today we're getting our first look at the Dallas Cowboys and getting a good look at George Pickens. We're going to watch him catch some balls, work through some drills, everything else. Before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now because we're looking at practice. We're looking at training camp every day. We're looking at your favorite players from your favorite teams, those rookies, those position battles. And guys, you're drafting soon in fantasy football. It's all right here. Click that button. Stop missing out on what your players are doing behind the scenes. You need to know what they're doing so you can make your decisions, especially for fantasy football and your betting. 3.5 minutes of clips here. Day one of practice. There was a clip that came out yesterday, but it's Brandon Cooks. ESPN even got duped on it. It's Brandon Cooks. Today was the start of practice. 3.5 minutes. Let's go. Let's go. There's Pickens right there. And those who got duped on that clip, remember, they're in Oxnard, California. So if a clip's going to come out around noon or earlier like that, remember, they're on West Coast time. West Coast time. Boom, catch the ball. Watch them hands. Boom, catch the ball. We'll loop this, keep talking ball. There's a lot I got to say about George Pickens. There's a lot I got to say here. All in all, from everything I've seen, which I'm getting a good look here with you guys, he's been looking solid. He's been looking solid. There was one iffy moment. We'll get to it. But the one thing I do like about him is those hands. Plucking the ball right out of the air. Dude's a little different. Dude's a little different, but he's also very serious. Very explosive off the line there. Very explosive. Him and Lamb. You notice those guys are right next to each other a lot. Those guys are with each other a lot. Like they're becoming the Bash Bros over here with the Cowboys. There we go. There we go after the catch. There we go after the catch. Fighting them off. Fighting them off. Ball pops out. That's it. That's the iffy moment I was talking about. That was it. But it is what it is. Here's some more. Tolbert. They love Tolbert. They love Tolbert. Look at them hands. Look at them hands. There's Dak. Look at Pickens. Look at Pickens. There they are again. From a different beat writer. They're together a lot. That's what I'm noticing. That's what I'm noticing. It was hard to see it. Rookie camp, minicamp OTAs of this team. Because they were not letting the clips fly. They were not letting the beat writers cook. But now that we're seeing it, because I had to get all my clips from these, there's the fumble again. I had to get all my clips from these players from news outlets where they just show like a couple seconds of clips while they're talking. And I just find them. That's how I got my clips. Not from the beats, but from news stations. That's not George Pickens. There's Lamb. Here we go again. There's Pickens. Right in the hands. Sticky hands. Sticky hands. Boom. We might even get into some Justin Fields talk today. I'm feeling very froggy. I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited. George Pickens and the Dallas Cowboys. Same play, different angle. Got 3 different angles. There's him right there. I think him and Lamb is an interesting duo. I don't think many people's talking about that. That's an interesting duo where they can play different spots in the offense and complement each other very well. Watch this one. There's Lamb right there. Tolbert. There's Pickens. Ooh, a little double catch it looked like. Unless my eyes glitched on me. That could happen. Watch so much film and training camp highlights all day. There we go. There we go. This is exciting. Exciting. First day of practice is always fun. First day of practice is always fun. George Pickens with the Dallas Cowboys. What can we say about this? Is this a huge get for them? This is going to help Dak, help the offense immensely. They're trying to make changes on the offensive line. They drafted Booker, who I believe is going to be on this team for a long time. Like, I know a lot of people said they overpaid, and you look at the value, mock drafts, everything, and that equates to that. But you look at the interior offensive line spot when it comes to talent for the offensive line, and when you're trying to make that investment, you pretty much had to go Booker or wait. You pretty much had to do that this year. We said that while mock drafting all mock draft season long going into the draft. Like when we looked at Booker and we looked at him in the first round of drafts, we're saying it's him or you're waiting pretty much because there is a drop-off in talent. There was a drop-off in talent when you're looking at that. And the Cowboys noticed that, and they said, it does not matter. We're going to take the player. We're going to go to the safe route. He's the safe route. He's going to be one of the few players from this class, this whole class, all positions, not just offensive linemen or whatever, that we're going to be in the 2030s and we're going to be talking about him. That's the thing about that. Back to George Pickens, though. This is a great fit for this team. They needed a deep shot. They needed something aggressive. They needed some personality to this team, too, on field. They just needed that. They needed some change. Nothing changes unless something changes. And something changed. And they're going to have some moxie on this passing game. He's going to be open when he's covered. So Dak's going to throw it up to him. And you can't really just hype on CeeDee Lamb on the defensive side of the ball and just make sure he's double covered or have that safety to his side, because now you got Pickens to worry about. Not old man Brandon Cooks, not Tolbert. You got George Pickens to worry about. And George Pickens does not have to be a wide receiver one right now. He can be that deep shot. He can be that other piece alongside CeeDee Lamb. And he can just be George Pickens doing his thing, making those big catches, getting downfield, just being a huge piece of the offense. So what does that look like production-wise? I believe there's going to be some moments this season where he goes off and makes some big catches. I believe that's going to happen. I believe CeeDee Lamb's going to be the guy in the offense. He's going to get the work. He's going to get targets. And he's going to get the opportunity. The targets are going to flow between these two wide receivers. It's going to go to Ferguson. I think they're going to attempt the run game. That run game is going to be very interesting with these running backs. And if that does not work out, then these wide receivers are going to have to carry the load in the passing game. They're going to have to throw it more, because you might catch that with the run game this year. You might. If not, you might get lucky here with these running backs. You can't really expect it with Miles Sanders. You got Javonte Williams. He caught some balls today. We're looking at Jaden Blue, see if he steps up. We got Phil Maffa. He got some carries today. He's got some size to him. Something's got to turn up with those running backs. But if not, you got a good 1-2 punch. And George Pickens could be a 1B wide receiver 2 with a lot of upside for this team. A lot of upside. He's got sticky hands, as we've been seeing in these clips. And that's going to bail out Dak. That's going to help CeeDee Lamb cook to the short to intermediate. There's just a lot of upside with that. Fantasy football-wise, CeeDee Lamb's going to get the targets. He's going to get the opportunity. He's going to be the steady player. George Pickens will have his moments. He will have his moments. He will have some wide receiver 1 weeks. It could be 3 to 4 of them, but it could be vastly volatile. It could be up and down, because Cowboys get in some weird games. And he'll be in some of those weird games where they got to chuck it downfield or make that highlight reel catch, maybe some in the red zone, in the end zone, wherever it's at. And he'll go nuclear in those games. But there'll be also games where it's tough sledding. CeeDee Lamb's getting the bulk of the work. He might catch 3 of his 5 balls, 4 of his 7 balls, 55 yards. It's fine, but wide receiver 3+ status. And you'll have a run of those games. And you're like, man, I hate George Pickens. And all of a sudden, 35 fantasy points, caught 2 touchdowns, or caught a deep shot, 50 yards downfield, and along with a couple other ones. And next thing you know, big moment out of him for fantasy. And then the next 3 games, you're trying to start him because you're FOMOing after that game. He gets you 12 points, 10 points, then a 15er, making you feel all right. And then you're wondering what to do with George Pickens. You got another start-sit decision. You make your decision one way or another. He goes off for another 28 fantasy points. And then the next week after that, you're FOMOing, you chase it. And maybe he does okay and gets you 12, and you're like wondering what to do the next week. He gets you 4 when you're chasing 30. You bench him the next week. And then he scores 29 fantasy points, 30 fantasy points. It's going to be like that with CeeDee Lamb being very successful in this offense. As a Cowboys fan, you're wondering what the heck I'm talking about. But playing alongside CeeDee Lamb and getting deep shots, that's actually a good year. That's actually a good year. You weren't really getting that out of Brandon Cooks. You weren't getting that out of any other wide receiver. And it will get you some consistent production. But they're going to be in weird matchups sometimes. And you're going to see Lamb get a bulk of the targets. It's going to be hard for a second wide receiver to stand out, considering a lot of the red zone looks goes to the tight end, work going to the running backs. That's really just how it is. In fantasy, you're looking at top-end producers. And you're feeling good in your lineup if they score X amount. Usually for some people it's like 10, 11, 12, but you're not feeling good if they score 9, 8, 7. But those deep shots downfield is going to clear things out for CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb's going to be very, very good this season with them there. He's going to be very impactful to the offense. I think Pickens is a huge get. A lot of people was worried about Pickens because he was a head case with the Steelers. He was. The thing about that, though, the start of this is going to be fine. The start of this is going to be fine. Pickens will probably get in a few matchups, a few skirmishes, a tussle or two with some defensive backs. We saw it at Georgia. We saw it at Pittsburgh. That's just how it is with him. And I don't want him to change. That's how he plays the game. He takes it seriously. He's aggressive. He's assertive. He wants the ball to come his way. He wants things to go well. Some people call that deep. It's a game. It's a position where if the ball's not coming your way and you're winning, you are going to be frustrated. And it's also a position where, like, if a DB puts his hands in your grill, you're going to just allow it happen, or you're going to fight through it. And if you're going to fight through with a little extra moxie, you get a little aggressive with it, and then the next time around, that DB's got to think twice. Next thing you know, you got half a step past him. That's going to help Lamb. That's going to help this offense. That little bit of feistiness, too. That little bit of feistiness. Like, wanting to be out there. He wants to be out there. Like, he's not acting like that because he's a bully. Well, a little bit probably because he's got the bulliness because he loves the game. That's the thing. Like, you don't do that. It's from Georgia to Pittsburgh. It's not because that's just who he is. He's not going to give you like 90%. He's going to go all the way. This is going to help this team. I look for him to get around 20% target share, 8-eye average depth of target around 12 to 13. I think you're going to get some good deep shots out of him. I think fantasy-wise, he's going to be like a good wide receiver 2-ish if you're looking at points per game, but the volatility off and on, some of you guys are going to love it because he's going to win some people some money this year in daily fantasy football. He's going to do that. For those who are smart at setting lineups, looking at matchups, willing to take the risk, they look at the cornerback wide receiver matchups, they look at what CeeDee Lamb's doing, they look at how to strategize, they look at the over-unders, they look at how defenses are giving up points to wide receivers that are like the last 3 to 5 weeks. They look at that stuff. It's ingrained with them. Pickens is going to be awesome for those fantasy managers. Pickens is going to be rough for those fantasy managers who's just looking for a wide receiver to put in their lineup. They have a batch of other wide receivers, and they're just playing by the seat of their pants. They're just looking at the targets, recent points, maybe just roughly looking at the matchups. They're watching my videos, but they're not taking into account of everything I'm saying when I talk about risk and the realm of possibilities and not thinking on their own after I bounce those ideas off their head. They're just looking at sheer production. It's going to be rough for those types of fantasy managers, but he's going to have some awesome moments this year. He's going to have some big plays. He's going to be huge for this team. He's going to help out Dak. Joe Milton had some plays today I'm going to cover too here soon. But I'm very excited to see how George Pickens looks. Like, this is going to be the best wide receiver next to CeeDee Lamb that I can remember. That I can remember off the top of my dome. There's going to be somebody out there that I'm missing, but right now, this is it. This is it. Like, if something happens to Lamb, he can step into that wide receiver 1 role. Like, you're going to miss a beat, but you're going to be way more functional. Way more functional than with anybody else. I get it when I talk fantasy talk. If you don't understand that, I might sound down, but you're going to be way more functional. Cowboys fans, something happens to Lamb. It's football. Things happen to players. Something happens to Lamb. You're going to be you got a guy that's been a wide receiver 1, that's yielded results, that's played with some bad quarterback play. He's now got an upgrade with Dak. And Dak's back healthy, gotten an upgrade at his wide receiver core. Everything else, we got to see how it plays out. But he's got some upgrades. This team's looking different. Now we're looking at Dak Prescott. This could be the year he gets you a little bit of production. A lot of people are expecting him to be a QB1 in fantasy. It's in the cards. It's in the cards. It's at least a good value here. He's going to be in some good matchups, and he's got 2 good wide receivers now. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.